Okay, great. So I'm 𝘊𝘭𝘪𝘮𝘕, European Project Office at Joe Group in Italy and main coordinator of the project. It's a support and a coordination and support action under European Innovation Ecosystem Scale-Up project, aiming at expanding AccelerAction ecosystem and foster the scalability of European businesses across Europe. The project has just started last September and shall end in February 2025. We are a consortium of 10 partners from 7 European countries, mainly Joe Consulting and Eastman from Italy, 𝘊𝘰𝘭𝘪𝘮𝘰𝘍𝘕 from France, 𝘵𝑒𝑡𝑖 from Portugal, 𝘚𝑥celerator from Romania, 𝑓Success from Ireland, female founders from Austria, and the University of Thessaly and Praxis Network from Greece. The object and the main scope of Accelerator, as already anticipated by Paul, is to create a more connected and efficient innovation ecosystem. How? In order, to support business scale up, but also to stimulate cooperation among different players in Europe, especially in the deep tech sector. And that's why you are here, because you are all experts in the innovation ecosystem, in the accelerator innovation ecosystem, because we have to co-design and build together the pan-European networking accelerator program in order to improve the business acceleration service in Europe and leverage the ecosystem across all European countries. The objectives are to improve the quality and outreach of business accelerator services, especially in the moderate innovation ecosystem, co-design together this program of activities among all the actors from both the innovation hubs and the moderate ecosystem, and strengthen the less connected ecosystem to increase their competitivities and business activities across Europe, but also accelerate gender equality in the innovation ecosystem. How are we going to do it? Here, a very brief workflow, just to explain you what are the process that will bring us in creating these challenging results. We are at the strategic discovery process in which all the actors have been firstly involved in the assessment methodology, in which we try to discover and assess gaps and challenges in the European business located in less connected ecosystem. And we have interviewed many business accelerators around Europe and also female entrepreneurs. Right now, we are organizing these discovery roundtables. This is the first one of 4 roundtables that will be organized in different areas of the Europe. Today, the focus is on Southern and Eastern European countries. Then the next one will be on Central, then in the North and West part of Europe. Here we need all of you, all your expertise from accelerator, startup, innovation agencies, but also education and institution in order to develop together this pan-European AccelerAction program. The strategic discovery process will allow us also to build our virtual ecosystem, which is a database of key stakeholders and key programs that through a special algorithm will allow the match between different players and key programs. Through the virtual ecosystem, we will also run our accelerator exchange program to leverage the scale up of 10 promising SMEs and startups across Europe. And also, thanks to the virtual ecosystem, we will generate alliances and enhancing networking connectivity in Europe. Here are our target groups. That's why you are very important and key today, because we need providers from the accelerator ecosystem, but also expert evaluators, mentors, investors, innovative startup and SMEs, especially in the deep tech sector, policymaker, but also the academic work. The main results, as I already mentioned, will be to create this assessment methodology, a benchmark that leverage the business acceleration entities located in moderate countries, the pan-European networking acceleration program that will be jointly designed by all the innovators in Europe, the matchmaking algorithm and the virtual map with this database of stakeholders, and the peer-to-peer mentoring gathering among experts, in which at least 27 experts from the 27 European countries will be involved in peer-to-peer session. This will allow us to launch our exchange program for promising startups and SMEs around Europe. Why are we here? Well, as I said, this is the first roundtable in order to engage actors from the innovation ecosystem to exchange best practice, knowledge, tool, and method that highlights also new ideas and way of working together and working with startup companies and entrepreneurs. So we need your ideas, your key services, especially in business and procurement, but also information on what has worked and what doesn't work in the ecosystem in Europe. Thank you very much. Paul, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Antonietta. So maybe we can start with our speakers. I would like first to invite the ladies in the panel. So Ralitsa, who is representing RAPIV, a regional development agency in the Varna region.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for inviting us to join the event. Hello, everyone. I'm with the Regional Agency for Entrepreneurship and Innovations based in Varna, Bulgaria. As you will see, we are a non-governmental organization and we are an umbrella organization. We were established more than 20 years ago. And our members are 2 of the municipalities here, the regional government, 4 out of 6 universities based in the Varna region. We have also the Institute of Oceanology being our member. So Chamber of Commerce and Industrial Association, so other business support organization also like the ICT cluster, SMEs, and we have a bank being our member. So we started as an incubator. You see the building back in 2005. And recently we have developed more services that are supporting directly the SMEs within the region. So we run our own acceleration program called Start to Up. We also run together with Varna Free University the Women Entrepreneurship Center. And lately we have been selected to be EIT Food Hub for Bulgaria together with the Agricultural University. So within this business support, I'm going to focus the services we offer, the project that we implement, because this is one of the main tracks we are basically developing. It is not only working with SMEs, but we also focus very much on policy level. So we identify, select and transfer good practices. We do strategic documents development and review of policies. But here our scope is mostly on the direct support that we have provided to different type of businesses. I'm starting with the last few programs. For the last few years, we have been running EVA Bulgaria program. This is under the EIT Food. So we had 2 editions supporting women from agri-food sectors, 2 consecutive years. So this year we won't have EVA in Bulgaria, but next year we hope to renew it. Also, we serve as a food hub for Bulgaria. So we organize different activities. Challenge Lab is one of the most challenging and successful ones. We also do different activities targeting startups, like webinars. We will be organizing an agri-food camp, and in general we serve as a promotion point for the different EIT food entrepreneurship programs. We also run the startup acceleration program. So this one specifically is directed to vulnerable groups. So we are finishing with the last 2 groups that are going through our training program. They get access to mentoring, and consulting. Then they will, at the very end, they will have a pitching with small financial awards. We also very much focus our activities on female entrepreneurs. As you have seen at the beginning, together with EVA program, we also run a big project called Women in Business, involving 9 different countries within the Danube region. So a part of the political part, so the study of the current state and the analysis and good practices that we have identified in the different countries. We also have set up 4 centers for women entrepreneurship, and these centers have been serving not only as a training point, but also as a meeting point in which women can meet, discuss, meet with stakeholders, counterparts, and develop further their skills. So we also have focused our attention on smart care models that have been implemented through the 𝘊𝘰𝘀 project. So the idea was to have smart care labs positioned in different countries, and we had pilots also deployed in 5 different regions. So very important track of our work. Also continuing with the female entrepreneurship, recently we have started a project together with 6 partners from all over Europe that is directed to empowerment of women entrepreneurs through training. So we will be developing a training manual for trainers and mentors, and there will be a platform also with dedicated educational resources. Recently, we also had a project on the horizon that is focused on developing a network that is going to offer different services to innovative businesses within the mobility sector. In May, we are hoping to start a project similar to yours within the cybersecurity field, together with partners from Germany and Slovenia. So we are very much focused on supporting the startups, developing the ecosystem here in the region and in the country. So this is part of the main team here. I'm open to questions during the discussion, and I'm looking forward to meet all the colleagues taking part in the round table and to share the experiences we have. Thank you.
Then our next speaker, Gonca, Kara. Are you connected, Gonca?
Yes. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
This is Gonca from Malta. I'm representing Malta College of Science, Arts, Science, and Technology. We are a vocational educational institute, as well as a university, but we are called 𝘊𝘪𝘳𝘦, and we have master's degrees and things that spanning from level 1 to level 8. So I'm coming from the knowledge triangle's academic partner role. And yeah, in Malta, at MCAS is one of the pioneering institutions developing an entrepreneurship ecosystem, given its key role in the current workforce and also connection with industry. And the last 2 years, the college also focused on applied research and engaged its researchers very actively with industry. And although it's a very new ecosystem, Malta is very small compared to other countries. And of course, it's a developing ecosystem. We have been trying to boost and get together all the actors together. To do so, I think it was 2019, MCAS became a partner to EIT Network, European, as our colleagues from Bulgaria did. We became the hub for EIT Climate Kick, as well as EIT Urban Mobility. And recently, we also started to run some few projects under EIT Food. What we have done under EIT Climate Kick, it was not only the hub management to boost the clean tech ecosystem or related to mobility. What we have done also, we brought these innovative programs and acceleration programs of EIT and run them locally at the national level in Malta. So we have been running the climate accelerator for the last 2 years, and also few pre-accelerator programs for the under the urban mobility field. We also did a small-scale EIT food empowering women in agri-food project in Malta. As I said, it's growing, and first of all, I'm really thrilled to meet you all, and it's really good to be in this network, in this roundtable. It's very much needed when it comes to, of course, also the ecosystem in the Southern Europe, and connecting it with the real innovators is our dream, actually, and that's what we are working for. Because I mean, we are talking about what we have been doing, but I'm sure there will be so much value to learn from you and share our experiences, because it's a growing ecosystem. So in addition to what we are doing in this accelerator programs and running the programs under our Applied Research and Innovation Center, what we have been doing is also we have focused increasing our organization's entrepreneurial and innovation capacity. So to do so, we have engaged with the EIT Higher Education Call, and we have been piloting, I have to say, very innovative programs. This has led us to also embed innovative learning systems into our entrepreneurship curriculum. Currently, we don't have an incubation center, and it's very limited amount of incubation centers are in Malta. But Malta has now very eagerly developing its startup ecosystem. They have allocated so much funds, and it's, I think, one of the countries that offers very generous amounts of funding to startups coming from non-EU states, basically, but also EU startups as well. However, when we look into the local system, we are still so much failing in many aspects. So that's why we have focused on increasing our own capacity. Therefore, we are running different projects and programs to increase the capacity of MCAS, our students, our lecturers, our staff members, and also key people in our network and the stakeholders that we are working with. So this is in a nutshell what we are doing, and I would love to share more in the next session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And indeed, this is the main objective of the project, to connect the ecosystem and overcome the local limitation in terms of size, resources, and so on. On our list, so Maciej, are you still connected? Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I cannot only hear you, but awesome. I see you, which I want to express my huge thankfulness towards and to, because for us, people located here in Poland, meeting leaders of innovative deep tech environments in Europe, in more developed parts of Europe, is always a big privilege and a subject of honor. Why? I will explain in my short presentation for you. I understand I can have this 5-7 minutes, yes?
Yes, you will have, yes, around 5 minutes.
All right.
You're very modest because you have your own great accomplishments, and we are much obliged to have you sharing your.
Thank you for this. You are encouraging me, Paul. I think these accomplishments would be really multiplied like 3-4 times if only we were better connected. Poland is a country of significant talent pool. We are a country of 300 public universities. It does not, of course, turn into quality automatically, but indeed we have 7 technical universities which are like in the first 150 top universities in Europe. And I think that even these reports or these lists of top universities do not really reflect the real quality of talents. It is one of the reasons is that our professors, great academic leaders who are 60-70 years old, they were mainly lecturing in Russian and in Polish. So our 𝘊𝘰𝘧𝘰𝘶 index, due to lack of English competences, is not particularly high. But the new generation of academia, young scholars, principal investigators, is of course well equipped with the foreign languages, so they are writing in English, though still the overall numbers in rankings of Polish universities, in my opinion, might be slightly, underestimated because of the methodology of assessing academic standards. Since Paul said that I am addressing these words to you very humbly, I have no other choice than skip a little bit the element of myself. But maybe for those of you who haven't met Startup Hub Poland or myself before, my name is Maciej Sadowski. I am co-founder of Startup Hub Poland, an organization that is a subject of my short presentation today. Our organization is 11 years young. I was a CEO of Startup Hub for last 10 years. Recently, in winter 2022, we finally made the transition in a board and far more excellent manager, 𝘊𝘰𝘬𝘧𝘰𝘍𝘕, who some of you already know, took over responsibility of managing us. I am still in the team, but as a specialist, not anymore as a CEO, because my job and my tasks are very peculiar, and they are rather related to venture capital interactions, venture capital relations. Why? Because I started working in this ecosystem as a super junior in venture capital fund. It was Israeli-Polish VC called Giza Polish Ventures, and I was working there as a support of the analytical team. Then gradually I became a little bit more experience in venture capital fund, which led me to being the general partner, managing partner of 2 small seed funds. By small, I understand first fund was 3.5 million euro, and the second fund was 8 million euro. So for most of you, it's funny. It's not even a VC fund. It's more like a bigger accelerator. But in Poland, in that time, it was enough. Why? Because, for example, in comparison to Paris or to London, the valuations of startups here in Poland are 3.2, again, 3.2 times lower, with the same, virtually speaking, with the same quality, with the same technology, with the same IP strengths, with the same team strengths. It is just, we are a cheaper country. You can utilize €500,000 to produce much more milestones and to prove your technology, prove your business, prove your team in a greater extent than it would be possible in Oslo or in Madrid or in Dublin. Through this venture capital connections I built before Startup Hub Poland, I understood that the main mission of my organization should be to connect Eastern European startups and founders, even as early stage founders, as prototype, non-commercialized, even non-registered teams, like, 1, 2, 3 people from engineering with engineering background who are willing to play with a new, very disruptive tech. It was also our factor, deep tech solutions. We never worked with SaaS or platforms or marketplaces, so very deep tech solutions, and they want to experiment with that, eventually find investors or a good accelerator, and then turn into a company, incorporate a company in Poland. And now, important factor, although in the name of my organization, we are NGO, by the way, non-profit organization, is Poland, Startup Hub Poland, but we always wanted to be an advocate of the whole post-Eastern bloc. So apart from Poland, we addressed our cordial invitation to founders from Ukraine, Belarus, Baltic states, Romania, Bulgaria, our regional neighbors like Slovakia, Czech Republic, Hungary is not our neighbor, but close to us, and also geographies like Caspian region, Caucasus region, and Central Asia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. For some time it was Russia, but even without the political issues which make this country very difficult to make any kind of talent circulation right now, they were always very difficult for us. They were very hegemonic, and they didn't want to. They only accepted US as as a place where they can develop. I mean, like talented PhD professionals. But still, Ukraine and Poland alone is half of the Eastern Europe in terms of population. So we really had a very decent numbers in our pipelines. To give you an example, statistically, every year we receive something between 2,500 up to 3,000, maybe 2 and a little plus thousand applications. Most of them, of course, are super bad, like miserably bad. But of course, this is what a good accelerator should do. We perform certain phases of selection in order to narrow down the number of every year recruiters, startuppers, guests to, let's say, 20, 30 projects, which we put into different acceleration or incubation formats. And here probably me giving you names of our acceleration formats wouldn't be the wisest thing, because of their original scope. For most of you, they might not be even recognized. You will just listen to brands of accelerators like Warsaw Booster or V4 Startup Force or Central Eastern European Academic League. So they are very anonymous brands for you. The common denominator of all of these programs were that we are speaking English with our colleagues, with our startuppers. We are interested in deep tech. They are usually pre-seed startups. And a nice result that I want to brag about a little bit is that 18 months after our acceleration, 80% of our alumni got a pre-seed or seed round. By pre-seed round, I understand at least €250,000 delivered by angels on convertible notes or by small venture capital funds. And here a sentence or two, if I may, about this Polish venture capital market, because in my opinion, it's super essential for you to sense, to feel the frequency of Poland. So the venture capitalism in Poland is a funny hobby if you compare it with Israel or US or Canada, because for us, $1 million is late seed. It's like almost pre-A round investment for the reasons that I mentioned, very low cost of technology development. Also because of the fact that after joining European Union, lucky us, some 15 years, 17 years ago, lots of new infrastructure, technological laboratory infrastructure has been built in our major cities. So startups don't need to travel anywhere. It's hard for me to imagine a sector where you cannot make your proof of concept experiments in Poland. So also it narrowed down the costs. Colleagues from Luxembourg, to give one example, they needed to travel either to Germany or to Belgium or to France because they didn't have so much equipment. Here in Poland, we really invested into equipment so startups can benefit from that on a very affordable prices. And venture capital funds in Poland, I want to claim I know each one of venture capital managing partner in Poland. They are 125, 124 maybe, but most of them are not active volcanoes right now. And this is I'm getting to the end of my presentation. By active volcanoes in venture capital, I of course understand as much as you, funds, vehicles which invest, let's say, not less than 5 times a year. So they need to be active. From this number 125 VCs, I think 70% are not right now petrified, are not investing anymore because of the fact that Poland, as a relatively poor European Union country, does not have rich families like France or Great Britain. I know it's not EU, but Great Britain or Sweden. This is why the country, the state, plays very important role, and European Union grants play super important roles. And approximately 80 or 75 VC funds in Poland were subsidized heavily by European Union funds. Right now, because of political struggles of the government here in Warsaw with other European countries, the subsidies are not as intensive as they used to be. So lots of venture capital funds are on hold. They are not investing. They are waiting for limited partners who are waiting for leverage from European Union grants or subsidies. So, and this is the final remark from my side. My organization badly wants to connect local startups, which we have a lot. I assume it's like 3,000 new startups a year. Altogether, it's probably around 10,000 startups where DeepTech takes 40%, which is a lot, 40% out of 10,000. So we have really a number of very, very great, disruptive, elegant and kind teams here in Central Eastern Europe, but Polish ecosystem does not provide financing anymore. And here in Poland, you know, talks with colleagues from France or from Germany or from Netherlands or from Austria haven't been present that much. 95% of transactions in Poland have been saturated by local investors. Right now, we are looking for new connections, especially with rich VC markets, because otherwise we will jump back 5 years in our development here in Poland. And I'm so sorry.
No worries. Thank you so much. These are wonderful insights. And once again, you're very modest about your accomplishments, which are huge. And this is exactly also our mission, because each ecosystem has its own strengths and weaknesses. And the idea is to leverage those strengths to overcome the weaknesses. But we will get back to
capital, infrastructure, and knowledge I would consider as pluses. Lack of capital is a huge minus that covers all the pluses right now.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Maciej. We will go in depth in those details subsequently. Okay, perfect. Next on our list, Angel, can you hear us?
Yes, hello.
Please, Angel, can you present CTAG and your
okay, let me share my screen. I have prepared a very brief presentation. Well, so different level of support to ecosystems from my side. My name is Angel Lacal. I come from CTAG, northwest of Spain. And well, straight to the point, we are a private research and technology organization. We are 1,000 people right now. We are a non-profit organization. You can assimilate something similar to Fraunhofer, for example, in Germany. Well, very focused in R&D, in European projects. We have patents. We have a strong focus in automotive industry, but we like to transfer knowledge to, of course, other sectors. So to complement, obviously, the three previous speakers, we support in a different point of view startups. Well, we have facilities. That's a first level of support, and we want to provide these facilities to our partners and to our colleagues. And some startups have grown in our facilities, but well, the conversation is not this. I just wanted to highlight first very briefly what we do, and then we can focus to that. So well, we are very focused in manufacturing, and not only automotive, but every factory is on our focus. So we try to provide services into the physical part of the factory, the hyper flexible factory, into the data part, the smart factory, and into the human part, which is support to the operators. We will see in a minute. So yeah, startups are in the core of our strategy. So of course, we try to develop different things when we go to research projects, TRL 3, 4, 5. Sometimes, yeah, we have startups that want to collaborate, but the typical scenario is in that kind of projects, we collaborate with universities. But then when we start to collaborate in TRL 6, 7, 8, or 9, again, startups are in the core of the strategy. It's very typical that we develop projects with the startups, or that a startup is the consequence of a project, of a research project. Then we permanently surveil the technological landscape in order to bring technology from startups into the big actors, and it's a role that I will comment later. But we want to act as a hub to communicate actors, and this is very, yeah, we have some stories about that. So we want to believe we play an important role about that as a key actor to merge all the things that we have in our table, but sometimes somehow actors do not speak properly. Just another brief, we can develop most every part of the project, from the pre-project technology analysis, the research part, some proof of concept. We have facilities I will show in a minute to help everybody to develop their ideas, and then even integrate into a factory. But again, depending on the project, we can develop 1, 2, or 3, or 4 of these steps. Okay. We have a, I think, unique facility, which is we call the Booster Manufacturing Lab, which is a pre-industrial facility in which we can test and experiment technology that then we can integrate, or anybody can integrate in factories. And it's an open pilot facility in the sense that anybody can come here and test their products and their proof of concept in a almost real scenario. You know, factories are very busy places, and factories want to produce, and they do not always have time to try technology, and our facility allows to have a moving manufacturing line in which you can replicate 95% the conditions of a line, and this has helped in the last years to boost the TRL of many products, because otherwise you can have access of the factory as much as you like. Then, of course, we provide consultancy, we provide assessment of technology. It's a role we have performed in the last years. We have 3-4 solutions, and we want to provide an independent assessment to whoever asks. We have mentored in acceleration programs because we want to believe we have knowledge to provide this mentoring. And this Booster Manufacturing Lab is also a learning environment. Going very quickly, we work in machine vision, in robotics, in IoT, in logistics. We have worked in big data, in the digital twin, and in 5G, and regarding human factory, in exoskeletons and mechatronics and all these technologies. But well, this is not the relevant part for today. This is my last slide. Just to summarize, the different kind of support as the ones you have commented. We have brought startups with us in R&D projects, and we want to make easy this role to the startups, because you need expertise and a lot of time to prepare a European proposal, as Paul perfectly knows. We have hosted pre-industrial pilots that then are presented to big actors, and I think this is something to comment later. But as technology prescriptor, we want to be alert of ideas that we present to big actors. For example, we have a great relationship with Stellantis because we are very close together from different perspectives, and some startups have shown their advance to the big actors thanks to us. We also participate in acceleration programs, and I can also comment later. I myself have been mentor of that. Of course, different perspective. We from a technical perspective and from a manufacturing perspective. So we are very happy to collaborate with the startups. They are part of the core of our strategy, and later we can comment some anecdotes and stories and perspective. And so let me know.
Thank you so much, Angel, for that. Yes, in particular, you've been involved in a very successful project, Impact Connected Car. So we will go in depth about those details, because there are some best practices to learn from that. Yep. Thank you again. We are a little behind the schedule, but I will reduce my own presentation because this project is mostly for you, and this is your inputs are very important. Last but not least, Filip, can you please present your activities?
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Filip, for being here and for sharing with us.
Yes, thank you very much for recognizing our work and inviting us as a representative from Croatia. We're happy just to share a few slides about what we do. So we are a private organization, innovation agency called Lean Startup Croatia, coming from the country of Croatia, that most of you might know because of its sailing experiences or as a touristic destination. But Croatia has also a long history of producing some brilliant minds who have contributed to the fields of science, technology, engineering, and so on, like Nikola Tesla, Faust Vrančić, 𝘊𝘰𝘧𝘰𝘶, 𝘊𝘰𝘭𝘪𝘮. So people who are famous inventors, inventing fingerprint, parachute, the pen, torpedo, the tie we are wearing, and so on. But that's something about the history. But today we also strive to develop our startup and innovative ecosystem. And we as a Lean Startup Croatia have started our journey 10 years ago in 2013, just organizing different activities for the community. We call them meetups and gathering people around similar ideas. Until today, when we are an organization that also develops their own projects, incubation programs, acceleration programs, and different services that we offer that I can show you in a minute. Since we are behind the schedule, I'll just skip a few things and go directly to what we actually do. So at the moment, we can say that we do 3 different types of services or activities. First is that we do innovation events, which are meant for community building, like different hackathons, innovation challenges, and meetups. We also do innovation programs like pre-incubation, incubation, acceleration programs, which are also agnostic, but in some specific verticals. And we do education and mentoring, some of the consulting in the ecosystem development sector, and so on. Going through a few selected projects, I'll mention one also that's in the area of healthcare and health tech. This is the program that we call Get Started in Health Innovation. It's the EIT co-funded program for healthcare startups. It's a 6-month long pre-acceleration program that we have started last year, and now we are having a second cohort just in the middle of the application phase. The second one I can talk about is something that you already heard from our partners in Bulgaria and Malta. It's the Empowering Women in Agri-Food, the program that we also ran last year for 10 female entrepreneurs in Croatia in the agri-food sector, together with the other partners in the ecosystem, but also the EIT Health Food Hub. One more, it's called Start, which is an agnostic program for startups in the Dalmatia split region, which is a coastal part of Croatia, very famous for tourism. So the IT sector is not on the priority list, unfortunately, at the moment. And together with the county and the city, we're trying to develop this scene and attract startups and people who want to do tech. And this was the 4th generation in 2022. This year, we expect to do the 5th. One more activity, which is a bit different, it's called Team Up. That's our community project that we are running since 2017. It's meant to collect different stakeholders through the ecosystem, but also offer startups the opportunity to pitch their vacancies, their open job opportunities, to find new co-founders, early employees, and so on. And we do these events quarterly in different verticals, like the one that you are seeing on this video is in the Web 3.0 vertical. And yeah, one more, and this one was in the area of vocational education, but for high school students, called Green Tech Entrepreneurship Challenge. Something that we also think it's very important to develop this entrepreneurial mindset in young people, in students, but also in elementary and high schools. So we ran this project last year together with our partners in Macedonia, to actually involve 200 students from 10 schools to develop their green tech business ideas and then present them over 3 months of work. Yes, that's all. I just wanted to briefly go through everything that we do, not everything, but just some highlights of the programs that we had last year. And maybe some final thoughts is that I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to all of you here. And also, I think there will be a lot of options maybe for us to collaborate, because we also work on different EU and other calls, have some actives at the moment, and I see that other organizations do also have similar activities. So I think there will be opportunities to speak about that. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Filip. Basically, AccelerAction was created from 2 main issues of the limited connectedness and cooperation being the biggest challenges. And this is reflected, first of all, within each EU ecosystem between the quadruple helix stakeholders. Maciej gave an example for in the case of investors, private investors, LPs who are waiting for public support, but we can also give a similar example in the case of research organizations, for which the know-how, the infrastructures, and the results of their research are not well and transferred to the industrial environment. And the same problem is even more acute at the European level, at the pan-European level. So this lack of cooperation creates an innovation divide, a gap between ecosystems, and pushes, in particular, startups in emerging ecosystems to go outside Europe and develop, in particular in the United States, where the conditions are more favorable. So in the roundtable, we will try to address these issues, and in particular fundamental aspects such as the access to funding, markets, and resources. So this being talent, equipment, research infrastructure, scientific expertise, industrialization of technologies, and so on. For this, we have two main results that we would like to share with you today. So the first one is the virtual ecosystem, where you will be able to join and collaborate with peers. And the second one will be the Pan-European Network Acceleration Program, the EU NAP. And the idea over here is to allow startups to find an optimum navigation path across the European ecosystem according to the technologies they develop, the sectors they address, and their growth stage. So with your support, we consider that would create big impacts for the ecosystems, and we hope that we will be able to count on your collaborations. Now, as a next part of the program, we will focus on the first, let's say, aspect, the virtual ecosystem that will be proposed by the AccelerAction program. So I would like to give the floor to our colleague, Claudia from Geo Consulting.
Actually, I will start, Paul. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Everyone. Thank you. So I will just, can you see probably my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I would just like to give you an overall overview of how will be structured, how we are thinking to develop the virtual ecosystem. As Paul said, we know that there is a lack of interconnection between the actors in the innovation ecosystem around Europe. So we are trying to solve this issue by creating a virtual infrastructure that will solve this issue and give actors among Europe
Is it just me or?
I've lost you.
Yes.
Yeah, we cannot hear.
It is only the voice, the audio, because we can still see the
yeah.
screen.
The screen is.
Maybe we can read his lips.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
but yeah.
Again, we cannot hear you, only see you.
Okay. Now, yes. Okay. So the goal of our project is so that of creating this kind of interaction between the actors, because as Paul said, we noticed that both at the national and European level, there is this kind of lack. So we want to create a virtual infrastructure that will support us, because we know that the capacity to create a link and an interaction between the various kind of relevant actors in an ecosystem is probably the most relevant function of an accelerator or a kind of entity that wants to promote innovation in a region. So which kind of actors we think that are the most relevant to be included in our upcoming virtual ecosystem? They are business entities, of course. We want to give them not just the opportunity to interact with the other kind of actors, but also to interact with other businesses and have the possibility to learn from them. In fact, peer learning is a concept that it is at the core of our project, and that we think it is really a great opportunity for actors to learn from the mistakes maybe, or also from the best practices of their peers around Europe, because it can give them a different point of view, a different perspective, and solving some of the issues that they may probably they are facing. We want to include experts because we think that giving them, first of all, the opportunity to be somehow visible in their environment can be of help for them, but we also want to create a pool for businesses or other actors of experts from which they can draw in order to receive support for their growth. Of course, we know that the possibility to get funding, access to funding, is of paramount importance for all business entities, notwithstanding their level of growth. So we want to include, of course, investors in our platform. It is, of course, a win-win situation for both, because business entities can get opportunities to be funded, but of course also investors can find out investment opportunities that probably in other ecosystem in Europe they would have never discovered. And finally, policymakers, from research that we have done, and also from what has been said by some of our guests, the interaction with policymakers is of great importance for the successfulness of a local ecosystem. So we want them to understand what they can do, what policymakers can do in order to support their innovation ecosystem. Our platform, as Paul already anticipated, will be made of two main sections. The first one, the training and mentoring one, will be dealt in greater detail by 𝘊𝘰𝘧𝘰𝘊𝘰, so I just skip that. By the way, it will be the training part of the platform. Now we are going to take care more in depth of the matchworking part of the platform. It will be a virtual map allowing users of the above mentioned categories to interact between them. There will be a connection that will be done between them through a POSIT algorithm that we are going to develop that will allow an automatic matchmaking according to the characteristics of the actors that want to use our platform. So since we are still at the beginning, at the first phase of the development of our platform, we want to somehow promote a phase of co-design of this platform with the actors that are going to mainly enjoy and benefit from it. So what we are going to do now, of that my colleague Claudia will take care, will be asking you, understanding from you what we can do through our platform in order to promote such interaction between actors at the pan-European level, between the relevant actors of the innovation ecosystem and acceleration ecosystem. Thank you for that, and now I leave the floor to Claudia.
Hi, hello to everyone. I'm Claudia Vittorio, and I'm a project manager for Consulting.
Can you please adapt the microphone, Claudia? We cannot hear you.
Yeah. always the same issue. Yeah. So again, I am Claudia Vittorio, and I am a project manager for Consulting. Currently, I'm working also in AccelerAction. So I want to thank Andrea for the presentation of the virtual ecosystem. Basically, the second part of the presentation is finalized to have an open discussion with you. So I will present you 3 questions that I will contextualize a bit, and after I will leave the floor to you in order to have some feedback and some insight from you. So as you can understand, the development of a virtual ecosystem is something that is very intense and something that needs to be enriched from the actors, from inputs and insight of actors that will directly use the platform. Taking into account an in-depth analysis that we conducted at the beginning of the project on actors' needs and on market lacks, we realized that we decided to structure the AccelerAction virtual ecosystem, starting to think on possible filters and parameters that will be used from accelerators, investors, startups to easily find what they need in the ecosystem. Of course, one of the main relevant filter will be the possibility to select the country of interest and the area of expertise. Another filter will be the possibility to add or search for the business development stage of the startups. Moreover, the virtual ecosystem will be updated with market opportunities and what are the access to funds, and also the possibility to express what are you looking for. So if, for example, you are an accelerator and you are looking for startups to be invested, or the opposite, you are a startup and you are looking for an investor or an accelerator or an incubator to start your business. This is our general idea. In your opinion, considering your expertise, your market knowledge and needs, what other filters could be useful to you for you to find in a virtual ecosystem map? Something possibly that you already looked for in other maps, and you realize that it is lacking in the market. So at the end, my question is, which filters could facilitate your search for stakeholders in a virtual ecosystem? The floor is yours. If there is someone that wants to reply to the question, will give us feedback or insight.
I
Yes,
can.
Gonca, yeah, thank you.
Sorry. Yeah. No, I would like to get updated about European policies. I mean, because there are so many varieties of initiatives when it comes to innovation. The new innovation agenda, innovation valley, coalition of willingness, you know, there's millions of them. There are also under EIC and EIT policy levels and the incentives. And also there is other parts, like when there is this blended financing gets into the place, like structural funds and DGs are doing something else, you know, everybody's trying to do something, but it always feels like, okay, we are missing a piece, you know, and yeah, you work on under one funding instrument, and also you're trying to push something, and then you say, oh, suddenly something appears, you know, coming from a tender or these things, you know, it's a little bit hard to follow up. And when it comes to policies and incentives and where the direction is going, which policy is overstating the other one, you know, it's a little bit of a mix. That it will be really helpful for the accelerator managers, actually, and also to transfer that knowledge to startups where it is heading. And the second thing is, when we're talking about market opportunities, there should be maybe a connection to data sources for startups to build on. Any type of open data sources, and they can access to this market research and up-to-date data. That will be really helpful.
Yeah, thank you, Gonca, for your insights. About the first point, the European policies, I think it's a really good idea, and it's something that we probably can add on the market opportunities, because you also talked about tenders and so call for proposals, these opportunities. This is something that we can add on the market opportunities. And about the open data sources, this is something that we are considering in our project. Not specifically right now in the virtual ecosystem, but later Thiago will talk about it. We are considering it on the part of the development of the UNAP. So Thiago later will explain a bit better than me, but thank you for your insights, because above all, the part of the European policy, it's very good, and it's something that's new for us. So thank you. Okay, there is someone else that wants to add something.
If I can add something.
Yes, of course, Angel.
So let's imagine that you're looking for the right requirements and the real needs, and sometimes it's nice to have real challenges from big actors somehow. This is something that has worked, and some big companies have challenges like that. Airbus has their challenge day, and 𝘊𝘰𝘂𝘳𝘦 and Bosch, they all have these kind of things. And I think these are opportunities, very focused in these companies, but let's extract the global idea. If you have in this search real requirements, real challenges for big actors, you are more focused to that, because otherwise you have a product or you have a service that you may think it may apply to them, but then once you put your hands on the problem and say, oh, well, this is a lot of things that I didn't know. And having the real requirements and real challenges of I say big actors, but to understand each other, I think it could help startups to focus the application field.
Yeah, for example, we can create like a session with true stories. So stories of people, actors that already face this kind of challenges. And this could be a sort of example for the others in order to try to understand what they could face, not forcibly, but some challenge that they could face. Thank you, Ángel, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Many thanks. Okay. If there are other people that want to intervene, Paul?
Maybe in terms of the go-to-market, maybe the markets in which they are present, and additionally where they are going to go further, because probably this will help the collaboration between us. The collaboration in terms of knowing with which partner to connect a certain company, and this visibility can determine some proactivity. I'm talking also in as an investor in early stage companies, let's say up to late seed rounds, and the go-to-market, it's one of the most challenging activities, which many times the startups cannot do it on their own, or they do it too expensively. And with this ecosystem which we are trying to put together, I think that we are already having kind of like a boots on the ground in terms of our presence in different markets, like somebody's there, somebody's there. We just need to activate this and to make it as effectively, proactively, and also frictionless.
Yeah, thank you, Christian, for your insights. When you talk about the market, are you talking about the European market or the local market?
No, it's like internationalization. So where the startup wants to, what country the startup wants to open next.
Okay.
And if we can include, as was mentioned also by Ángel, I think previously, some concrete opportunities driven by people in the ecosystem, large companies or public procurement, and
yeah, I'm taking notes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's also the idea to describe the market where the startups will start their business, or will give them insights, will give them a general idea. Can you hear me? Yeah, we'll give them a general idea, so it could be very useful. Okay, thank you, Christian. If there is someone that wants to continue this discussion, on the contrary, I will go on the second question. There is someone that wants to add something. Okay, I suppose no. So thank you to everyone for your insights. So the second input that we would like to add in our virtual ecosystem is the interaction part. part. Indeed, after an analysis, we realized that that is important to create interactions among mapped stakeholders present in the virtual ecosystem and actors that have the need to use AccelerAction virtual ecosystem. So we realized that usually there is a lack of this kind of we can say direct interactions. It is possible, for example, in other maps to find a sheet with actors' details and the possibility to find the email in order to contact them. But our idea is to create a stronger interaction among actors in the platform. And for this reason, we thought to two tools like the creation, development of a forum or the development of a direct chat where the actors can ask for details and probably later they can deep the conversation through other communication means. So my question here is, in your opinion, this is something that can be useful in the process? And if yes, which other kind of communication means you will have to create more interaction among several stakeholders?
I can start with something adding that I think it would be very useful, but I think it's very challenging to determine the engagement of the audience which we want to target. So I think it would be very important how to address, how to engage people and activate them into that framework of communication. And the dialogue, it's always valuable. We just need to make it happen.
Okay. So in your opinion, we have to find a way to engage people, and after it
and
will
to keep them engaged. Yeah.
Okay.
I also agree with Christian. So I find it very challenging, even if any type of platform offers this chat and forum or the means of the features. When there's no engagement, it's so hard to switch in so many platforms as well when it comes to communication, because imagine in daily basis how many different platforms we are communicating, and we have our WhatsApp, Facebook, this, and for different reasons we are communicating, and I found it really hard. Instead, I would really suggest this engaging activities like a regular meetups where they can attend to the sessions, where they can raise the things, and a facilitator to further engage the dialogue. That is also kind of a community manager or something. Somebody needs to have the intelligence and then further take the dialogue. But I think if there are regular interactions, let's say one for startups, maybe stages of startups can get together, accelerator managers, that will be really helpful.
Okay, thank you, Gonca. Yes, Sylvia.
And yes, so Gonca, I will follow up on what you said. So basically, in our research, when we did the assessment of the gaps and challenges that accelerators are facing, one of the key facts was that they don't have access to a constant and let's say valuable pipeline of startups. And one of the suggestions was that they need more connections with academia and also incubators and other programs that are, preparing the future to be startups. So these meetups, I think, can be a good starting point for connecting them with these actors and having this very specific need in mind. So we can solve two things with one solution.
Yeah, just to add something to what Sylvia said, we decided to focus this conversation on these questions because we before conducted our research, and so we try to extrapolate some questions from these research. But this point of view that it's real that the communication is always something valuable, but I agree with you that probably before we need to create engagement, because now it's very easy to communicate around Europe. So there are many social media, there is WhatsApp, so it's very easy to keep in touch. But if there is no engagement, how we can do it? So yes, this is a very valuable insight. Thank you. Okay, someone wants to add something? Or we can move forward?
Just a brief comment. Well,
yes,
same comment that before. So if I am a big company, I am only engaged if I find something interesting in the field. So I am a selfish company because I only manufacture, I build cars, or I build chairs, or whatever I build, and I only am willing to lose my time, let's say, if I find something interesting. So if I present my problems, my challenges, I see that somebody's interested on that, I think you can engage the big companies. And then if you are trying to get attention of the potential customers, well, maybe you learn something in the way. Then of course you need funding, and then of course you need infrastructure, but at least you have the actors. And because otherwise, even, and we have suffered this in European projects, even with the funding, the big companies, they don't have time for anything, and you have to catch their attention, and it's very, very hard to catch their attention.
Yeah, so something that could be useful for them, something that they can use to improve their company, or
their process,
to grow their process, yeah, etc. Okay, many thanks.
Maybe to do so, if you allow maybe participants to suggest their events and the engagement things, or maybe thematic areas that could be, the platform itself doesn't need to maybe provide the engagement, but the participants can design their own engagement, post it there, and if we can attract someone, they will come. So it will be good.
This is very, I like this comment. I mean, that I am thinking that we can also create a forum that is our idea, a free forum where companies, startups, accelerators, or whoever is part of the ecosystem can suggest an event, or can promote, disseminate freely online. It's their event. So yeah, this is a good suggestion. Thank you, Gonca. Something new. Okay, so thank you for your valuable insights. There is last very fast question. This is less specific and more open. I mean, you already provided us some feedback on what do you expect to find in a virtual ecosystem. Unfortunately, we don't have so much time, so thank you to everyone. Considering what we discussed till now, our idea of the virtual ecosystem, we already presented you, sorry, I lost myself. We already presented you our idea of acceleration virtual ecosystem. So at the end, what will push you to use this platform? What are the lacks that you found in the current maps that we can add on our AccelerAction map? Are there more needs that we did not take into account? So at the end, we described you our virtual ecosystem, but what do you expect to find here? I mentioned as example a few like mentoring, accelerator programs, events that will of course add, but if you have more insight, please provide them to us.
Thank you so much, Claudia.
You're welcome.
I think, yes, it's much easier to discuss in this way rather than going through the board, because it will take a lot of time and we are already behind the schedule. So I would give the floor to Tiago to present the second part, the UNAP, and then we can wrap up by, let's say, insights and actionable advice, let's say, to adopt in the next steps.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
Tiago and Anna, the floor is yours.
So the floor is mine. Nice. Just for me to know, Paul, how much time do we have now in this section? Because we are
take the 20 minutes, and then in the final 21s we will wrap everything up with a focus on, let's say, the challenges that have not been mentioned from the perspective of the speakers and the participants, and then how to improve the answers to those challenges, in particular the resource focused topics, investments, markets, and other resources. And then we will present in a few seconds the next steps, the next roundtables. And
20 minutes, it was what I needed to know. Perfect.
Yes, you have the 20 minutes.
All right. So, hey, everyone. My name is Tiago. I am from 𝘊𝘰, a collaborative innovation consulting company. And basically, what we will do here now, we will have a peer learning moment. So we have people from all over Europe with multiple backgrounds, and the idea is for each one of you to share some of your challenges, but most importantly, most of your best practices. But before we jump into the exercise, I just want to see how diverse we are here in this group in terms of geography and culture. So I already know that we have Maciej from Poland, Angel from Spain. We also have Malta, Gonca from Malta. We have Bulgaria. We have Portugal. Which other countries do we have here? And
Filip in Croatia.
Yeah, Croatia.
Filip as well. Exactly.
Yes.
Romania.
Romania, cool. What else?
Yeah, we have Italy.
Yeah, we also have Italy. Nice. What about?
And for the other participants, yes, indeed.
Yeah, this moment is for everyone to participate. So please jump in and tell us where are you based at the moment. If there are any countries left.
We have Greece, Vasiliki is here. I don't know if you've mentioned Bulgaria already, but yeah.
Nice.
Ralitsa is here, so.
So we have a lot of different countries, which is really nice. And the idea of this moment will be really to share some of this diversity, not only in terms of geography, but also in terms of profiles. I will now share my screen, and I have another little exercise for us to do before we jump into the sharing moment. Oh, not here. Here. All right, perfect. So first of all, my name is Tiago, and as I was saying, I'm from 𝘊𝘰, a collaborative innovation consulting company, and we basically work on acceleration, open innovation, ecosystem building, and strategy innovation. And today, what we will do is we will use the collective knowledge, the collective intelligence that is in this room in order for all of you and us to grow and to learn with each other. So AccelerAction is all about connectivity, but also knowledge transfer. So the idea here, as you know, sharing is caring. So the idea here will be to share with others, but also to try to share our challenges, but also share some of our best practices. So we can have a more united and balanced ecosystem in Europe. But before we share, I would like you to go to this, to scan this QR code, and it will be a really simple thing. But if you can come here, that will be really nice. So you just need to scan it really quickly. And once you have scanned it, let me know.
Done.
All right, perfect. So now I just...
A second here.
Wait, already spoiling. Okay. Perfect. So we are already having some results. Basically the idea here. Okay, I see. Maciej, do you need me to go back? All right.
Can you put it once again, please?
Yeah. So here you have it.
Can we select two? We cannot select.
Perfect. So we have a lot of consulting firms. We have acceleration and incubators. We have policymakers. We have VC and angel. We have venture capitalists, angels, investment funds, a research center, 3 universities. So we are quite diverse here. Unfortunately, apparently we have no startups. So next time we need to do a little more push for that. But at least we have a really diverse ecosystem in terms of the players that we have here with us. So, and just out of curiosity, the person that put other, what is this other actor or stakeholder, if you want to share?
That was me. So I'm from the consortium, so I can't really. We're an NGO and we're a network of small and medium enterprises. So we're from the consortium, so I don't think that's more important.
So an incubator, we can say, no? No?
Not really, but yeah.
Perfect. So now,
just a question, do you teach your participants of your courses? Do you have some teaching capacities?
No, we disseminate best practices, but we're not actual teachers. But
all right.
Anyway.
All right. So thank you for sharing. Okay, we have more people coming. That's nice. And we will do one last question before we jump into the sharing moment. And this one is basically, now we will discuss around the topic. So all of us will discuss around the topic, but we will do it in a very democratic way. So all of us will choose which topic you want to discuss, basically. So there are 9 topics that we can go. We will only have time to discuss one. So we'll mainly focus on challenges, but most importantly on the best practices and solutions that you are applying regarding these topics. So please choose. I mean, the most important are the first 3. The other ones you can put it randomly. Just put the first 3, the ones that are more important for you to discuss, and then we will jump into the discussion stage. All right, it's already going. Nice. Okay, we have corporate partnerships and collaboration going on. All right, nice. I don't know if there are a lot of. Okay, we still have people. Nice. Okay. DeepTech investment and fundraising is at the front. Okay, is anyone else still filling it? Okay, so I think we have a winner, and the winner for this session will be the DeepTech investment and fundraising world. And it's really interesting because in the research that it was done in the AccelerAction program, actually investment and fundraising was one of the topics that came up most frequently. And it's securing funding while it's a critical challenge for the deep tech startups, as we have seen in the past, and as we have also heard here in I think some time ago, I was reading a research from 2020 that had more or less there were raised 65.8 billion globally, according to the CB Insights, to enable deep tech startups to scale and commercialize their innovations. So it's really something that is growing over the years. There is more funds coming to deep tech, so it will be a really interesting conversation. How will it work, basically? So my role here is as an enabler, a facilitator. You will be the ones sharing your challenges and also the best practices that you are aware. We'll have around 15 minutes, I would say. Paul, please, if you want to stop me in the middle, let me know.
No, go ahead, please.
We will have around 15 minutes, and I will start with a couple of questions, and then the conversation will flow let's see where it will lead us. All right? Are we ready?
Ready.
All right, perfect. So I'll come back here. And now, well, we have questions for all of the topics. Now, deep tech investment and fundraising. Once again, these are just questions that are here to guide us, but the idea, if you want to go in other directions, please feel free to do it and to share other things. But the idea here is for everyone to participate. So not only the people that were invited as speakers, but also the participants. This is really a moment for everyone to share and to participate. So the questions that we have here, the first one is, what unique challenges do deep tech startups face when seeking investment and fundraising, and how can those challenges be addressed? So what can be done to overcome those challenges? So first, naming the challenges, and secondly, presenting some solutions to those challenges that you have seen, that you have done, and so on. The second question is, how do you effectively communicate the value of your technology and its potential impact to investors? Because as we know, deep tech, sometimes it's hard to get investment because we are talking about a technology that has a low TRL, so it can be a challenge. So how do you can effectively communicate the value of your technology and its potential impact to the investors that might invest in your solution? The third one, what types of investors or funding sources have you found most receptive to deep tech innovation? So it's related also to the last one. And the fourth, what advice do you have for other deep tech startups navigating the investment landscape? So basically, challenges, how do you address these challenges? How can startups communicate better their technology to investors and the potential impact of their technology? What types of investors or funding sources are more receptive to deep tech innovation? And what advice do you have for deep tech startups navigating the investment landscape? So this is the starting point, but we will go wherever the conversation leads us. So anyone that wants to start by sharing their perspective, their view? Don't be shy.
I will do it. I will start first. This way it will give you ideas, but I think Maciej has a very in-depth expertise in this, and Cristian can come from with insights from the Romanian. The challenges, so a big gap between the, let's say, emerging ecosystem in Europe and the one in more advanced ecosystems in terms of, let's say, the fundraising size, the time to access to funds, and also the series they can get locally. For example, there is a 5 to 10 gap in an investment round between companies in Romania, Bulgaria, Greece, and the ones in UK, France, Germany, and so on. And you have another 10 times gap between the ones in Europe and the ones in the United States. So this is one of the huge challenges. Then in the specific case of the deep tech startups, you have tremendous risk, let's say, because the technology is complex to develop. You have a long time to market. You have huge capital needs to develop those technologies. So this makes makes things worse, let's say. Starting on this negative note, I would give the floor maybe to the other speakers, but this is one of the main challenges that.
Thank you, Paul. So some of the things that you highlight were the gap between more mature ecosystems and let's say less mature, moderate mature ecosystems, the risk of investment in deep tech startups and technology, and also the long time to market. So that was another thing that you highlight. So as we were saying, we were focusing more on the challenges. Does anyone have suggestions or best practices that you have done or you have seen to overcome some of these challenges? Maciej, please.
Yes, so you will not be happy with this remark, but I think there is also a problem, so a challenge among startups, deep tech startups, when they talk to not very experienced investors who are, for example, who have been trained at their courses, professional life, that it's important to see discounted cash flow analysis in order to evaluate early stage deep tech startups. And the thing is that with a real deep tech, you can sell your company for 200, 300 million euro without even being on the market. Only the technology items, that the team, competence of the team, skills are worthy money of big corporations. And very often when I'm peregrinating with startups from Central Eastern Europe to Polish, for example, or Czech, or Estonian investors, they usually say, oh, I'm sorry, show me some market results. So show me some recurring revenue. And we are sorry, and we are saying, sorry, we are developing new drug delivery methods. You will not see any revenue till up 2031. But still, it's a great opportunity for you to invest. And of course, there are funds, VC funds, which perfectly understand that. What is more, European Union Commission understands that, subsidizing this sector with grants. But still, I would say a predominant number of investors in my region, they want to see SaaS, software as a service, results in deep tech. So I'm saying you really want very, very implausible scenario that I will develop new drug or develop new laser or develop new material, space material, and you want me immediately to have clients who will purchase my new materials for Martian colonies, or I know Martian equipment. Let's wait for Mars expansion to have monetization. Right now we only have technology, but it's still worthy. NASDAQ companies are buying this kind of technology. So I would say it's a lack of awareness, or maybe I know disproportion in investment policies between startups and some venture capital funds. If only they could sense there is money behind this kind of transactions, there will be more trigger to talk to our startups. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Maciej. So this lack of awareness leads to this misalignment, right? That makes that the investors cannot understand how to evaluate properly this type of technology to invest. Great. And one suggestion or something that I understood regarding this question of what types of investors or funding resources have you found most receptive of deep tech innovations, you mentioned EU grants, right? So that for you, it's, or for what you mentioned, it's one good way to get investment for deep tech innovation.
Yes, unfortunately, yes. The proper market for a liberal-minded person should be without this kind of grants. But countries like Poland are, or not countries, but deep tech sectors in countries like Poland are heavily dependent on this money. And this is a leverage which not only provides financial resources, but also unprofessional investors who very often don't have PhD in, microbiology, for example. But then they get the information. There was a jury that pre-selected this startup among others. So it's like a stamp of quality, like seal of excellence. So I am forcing myself to be a fan of European Union grants because we are not in California and we need them. In ideal world, I will be happy to design ecosystem without these grants, but we are not. And one thing, Tiago, if I may, I know we are talking about challenges, not about solutions, but since I will need to leave at noon, I would love to add one proposal for a solution. If we were able together as a group of excellent people and my excellent leaders and myself, maybe we could produce a list of great examples of how, startups which never appeared on a market with a product, which never had, EBITDA, yes, at the end of the year, how they ended up for the founders with what kind of transactions, like, 100 million, 150 million, 300 million exits. There are these kind of exits in Europe, but we never make them stars. You know who doing stars? Marketplaces, platforms, SaaS companies, because this is their way of doing business. They need to appear, they need to be sexy, they need to provide lots of great media coverage, and deep tech laboratory solutions are hidden in shadow. Nobody talks to them, no interviews. Maybe we should celebrate them.
Cool. I think it's a great idea, and Maciej, thank you for bringing the solution. And actually, in this moment, more than the challenges, we want the solutions. So we already identified some of the challenges. So please bring more solutions, or best practices, just as Maciej did. And exploring something that you said, Maciej, you said that one great way, for example, to fight this lack of awareness is showing examples of deep tech innovation in the past that were really successful, and the path. So basically looking at successful cases and present them to the ecosystem, to the investors, so they realize the potential impact that the technology that they are looking at the moment can have. Do you, and I'm speaking with Maciej, but with everyone in the room, do you have other suggestions on how can we fight this lack of awareness among investors or among venture capitalists?
Tiago, may I
please
intervene very briefly?
Of course.
Well, first of all, I would like I'm glad to say that I see where Maciej is coming from, but I would like to underline the fact that the existence, the availability that we have in Europe of public funding and grants from governments and from Brussels, it's a blessing for our startups. And that's because it does not force our startups to give away shares at an early stage. So if we can bridge the initial R&D gap with 50, 100K from any public grant, and then we give the chance to our startups to pitch to potential equity investors, once they are at TRL 4, 5, 6, therefore they have more bargaining power, they have more value, and therefore they need to give away less shares. Now, talking about the access to investment challenge, it's a fact that our European investors are less prone to risk compared to US investors. Nothing we can do about that. So what I realized from my previous experiences is that one way for us to limit the damage of this issue that we have in Europe is to focus solely, precisely on those investors that are specialists in the sector where the startup we are supporting for the pitch operates in. Sometimes, we get passionate about our startups. So we just, sometimes it happened to me in the past, we just start sending the pitch to as many VCs and investment companies as possible. And most of them don't even reply to us. And that's because sometimes our passion make us lose a little bit focus, and that's understandable, it's human. But what we need to try to do is only try to focus on those investors that are that operates exactly in the sector where the startup we are proposing operates in. That's one way to mitigate this limit that we have in Europe, basically, when it comes to access to equity investment.
Alex, thank you very much for your very interesting perspective. Some highlights that I took from why you, so some things that I would like to highlight from what you mentioned. So basically what you share is that the EU grants end up being a blessing because at a very early stage, the startups don't have to provide shares to the investors, or a bigger portion of shares to the investors, and this makes them support them to focus on the technology. One important thing to say here is we are only talking about startups, but of course that we can also consider research centers, universities, and this conversation can be more broad than just startups. We are just using startups for the sake of the conversation, but it's a little bit more broad. And then something else that you share is also because this lack of awareness that Maciej shared from general investors to focus, so to specialize in going after deep tech venture capitalists or deep tech investment companies, which is a really interesting conversation, because I believe that you will not only be speaking with someone that understands your languages, also someone that will support you with a network that it's already specialized in deep tech. So I think it's a really interesting perspective.
Yeah. Investor needs to be strategic.
Exactly.
Not just giving us the, only recently a startup I was supporting here locally, they found an equity investor. He was excited about their business model, their objectives, their idea, but he knew nothing about the sector because his expertise and capitals are coming from a totally different sector of the industry. Mm. This investor met the startup twice and just disappeared. And now he's just asking, so where is my return on investment after only a few months? So it's becoming, now there are frictions starting between the startup and the equity investor.
Thank you, Alex. So choose the investors wisely, because even if it can help you in the moment, maybe in the future, if it's not well aligned and strategically chosen, it can create problems. Great insight. Christina, please.
Yes, hi everybody. In line with what Alex had mentioned, I totally agree with him. Talking about the TRL level or the level of risk the VC funds are open to. From our experience, it seems that for certain verticals, it is a great idea to get very close to corporations. For example, a deep tech in health, it would have more chances to engage a corporation to help them with pilot projects and even a great amount of funding to develop their technology until some higher TRLs and become interesting, which is with their maturity for VC funds also in later stages. We have clear examples, for example, with startups who works and got their first investments like 200 million or something in health tech from or other big corporations who again understands quicker and better the technology and the potential results of the deep tech product, and they are not so willing to see revenues very quickly. I mean, they are more patient. So, and this could be similar also in, I don't know, automotive or other industries. So deepening the relationship and making relationship and partnerships with corporation could help for these types of startups in deep tech. Yes.
I also agree with Christina. The collaboration with corporates, but I just wanted to highlight something. We are talking about EU grants for startups and deep tech startups specifically. But there is one condition to really benefit from EU funds, for you to get incorporated, you need to be a limited liability company. How much does it cost to run these companies? And if you want to be a beneficiary in Horizon Europe, if you want to get the EIC, if you want to get even EIT, seed grant, to get a 5K, they're asking you to get incorporated. You cannot receive even small, we are talking about 5,000, 10,000 without getting incorporated. And I have been running these programs. And can you imagine the challenge in Malta? We cannot even find a startup to apply. And on top, we want that they have to get incorporated to get in a simple acceleration program. Yeah, I mean, there are some cases, yes, but this is one thing. And for deep tech startups, it's a massive expense. And yeah, that's what I wanted to highlight as well. It's not only the way.
Gonca, thank you very much, and Christina as well. I think, Maciej, you have some final remarks. We are a little bit over time,
Yes.
so you will have the chance
Yeah,
to...
just one sentence questions to you, Gonca. Don't you have online registration of limited liability companies in Malta? Can't you do it online?
You can do it online, but again, the up and running cost is 1,600 per year.
Oh my God! Poland, for the first time in history, is competitive to somebody else. So
no, I mean, there are many incentives now. They are trying to reduce the cost, and they are offering. Now Malta is offering, for instance, tax credits, soft loans, kind of supporting schemes for deep tech startups coming in would like to set up here. So they have a grant. Let's say you can get there's a Kickstart program. Now Malta Enterprise is offering to foreign startups. They can receive like up to 200K. Some part can be dedicated to an acceleration program. The rest you can use for your legal expenditures and everything. But then after, if you would like to receive some financing, you need to get incorporated and run the company. But still, it's a lot of expense to cover at the very early stage without having a private investor. So, I mean, there is a very, there is a blocking there. We need to really find out, and with our intelligence, the way forward, because there is a very hard block. I don't think it is, with our intelligence, I think we can,
topic.
Yeah.
Interesting and separate topics. So
Exactly.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you very much for bringing up that topic. Unfortunately, we are over time, so I feel that we could being here speaking for much longer, but we'll have the chance to do it in the future. A few things that will go from here, or that I took notes. So the first one, focusing more on the solutions, because we already covered the challenges. So using successful cases as to show the ecosystem the potential of deep tech innovation. That is one way to communicate deep tech innovation. Then knowing how to use the EU grants at an early stage. Also, another alternative is to use or to focus specifically or go after VC investors specialized on deep tech, not only for their money, but for their network and expertise. Another really interesting thing that Christina shared is this collaboration with corporations and with big institutions to make sure that you have pilots, you have your proof of concept, you can show results, so then grow your technology. And then this really interesting thing also that Gonca shared related with what Malta is doing regarding providing incentives, tax credits, and more interesting loans to overcome some of the challenges and barriers that the startups face when they want to apply to these grants. Thank you very much for this time. It was very interesting, at least for me. I hope for you as well. For finalizing, I will just share one thing. So basically, the mission of the AccelerAction is to create a more balanced ecosystem across deep tech ecosystem across Europe. And for that, there are two really important things. One of them is connectivity, and the other one is knowledge exchange between the different ecosystems. And we also have an angle for increasing gender equality and diversity. So it will be a shame if this conversation would only stay here. So what we will do is we were taking notes about what you were sharing, and we will create something called the Pan-European Acceleration Network Program. And basically, this will be a knowledge platform. It will be a knowledge platform divided into sections. So the first section is basically a resource library, where you will find all types of content, so frameworks, case studies, videos, articles, a forum from the virtual ecosystem, and it will be targeted to investors, accelerators, incubators, program managers, entrepreneurs, and also regional and local policymakers. So these will be we are working on it, and these type of roundtables, one of the purposes is to get information from the ecosystem to then share with the whole ecosystem, not only with the people that are here, but with the full ecosystem in Europe. So that's the first section of this knowledge center. And then the second one will be a training program specialized for deep tech accelerator program managers. We will cover the 9 topics that we mentioned at the beginning. It will be a training course. There will be a beginner track and an advanced track, besides a networking platform, the resource library, a peer-to-peer forum. So it will be really a space for people to learn, to interact, and above all, to be aware of the best practices that are being used around Europe. And well, thank you for all of you for being basically contributing to this platform that in the future will appear. We will launch it in November. So until November, we will create everything, and we will keep you updated about what comes afterwards. Once again, it was a pleasure for me. Thank you very much. And if you want to get connected, you have here my email or from my colleague 𝘊𝘭𝘪𝘮𝘍, and we will be glad to connect. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you so much, Thiago.
Thank you.
Before closing the session with some conclusions and let's say the next steps, you've mentioned some very important topics, and I think that Angel, I don't know if you're still connected, but maybe in a few words, the best practices and key takeaways from Impact Connected Car, because it deals with let's say the link between an RTO, startups, public funding, access to corporates.
Okay.
That would be very.
No secrets, not only that acceleration, but others that we have collaborated here in the region. But well, again, my message today, extract from the final customers, which are selfish by nature, with their real needs, then the startups and other organizations can apply it specifically to these challenges. And of course, they need infrastructure. So again, having partners with infrastructure, and Maciej, I think, was very clear with that. Without infrastructure, you cannot do anything. But for me, the relation, we cannot expect that the relation emerges at the end of the process. It has emerged at the start of the process. So maybe you have a very good technological product. My message is learn about a domain. If it's automotive, it is health, whatever, because only when you speak the same language as the customer, you can engage with them. If you engage from the beginning, I think this is the lesson that we learned in these acceleration programs, and it was successful. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Angel, for this. And also last but not least, because we've talked a lot about public funding, the support of policymakers, Ralitsa, you know very well this, let's say, the ecosystem. Can you share a few elements of perspective?
Okay, so of course I have the experience only of the Bulgarian entrepreneurial ecosystem, and in the last couple of years it is developing quite well, which is visible in different reports that are published following the startup ecosystem all over the world. So we are very proud that recently we even had our first unicorn, and fortunately we will have some more. We are a relatively small market, of course, but we have still some really good advantages for our startups. So the first one being the digital infrastructure that is very well developed, the low cost of living, and we had the technical talent. So In total, more than 300 startups in the deep tech, more than 10 accelerators. So we have different also opportunities for shared spaces. And I would rather say that the main two cities that are attracting these talents are Sofia and Varna. Especially Varna, we are very well developed in terms of the IT sector. So as our colleagues already shared, so we had also different challenges that we face as an ecosystem. For now, the limited governmental support. Also, we face the challenge with the limited technology transfer from the universities and research centers. Also, what we face as a challenge is the unfavorable demographic trends. So what else can I say about the ecosystem? What we see as a focus industries here in terms of deep tech in Bulgaria, the artificial intelligence being one of the sectors that we would like to focus more. So being in different industries, enterprise software, health is very much prominent, finance, agriculture, marketing, also very well developed fintech with more than 75 fintech companies. We have a special accelerators dedicated to the fintech here, and the health tech also very quickly developing a segment that is very promising in verticals like the 3D printing, so also the digital health platforms. So this is very basically what I can say, and we have also quite a funding, VC funding available for the last year. I think it was around 200 million VC funding, and we also have a very strong support from different European acceleration and incubation programs.
Thank you so much for this. To let's say conclude on the first roundtable, the idea here is also to develop a trusted network of partners. So allow you to informally get to know each other, and in case you are working with a promising startups and do not have the resources locally, to contact one of the peers. If it's automotive, Angel is available. Then the ecosystem in Poland for very specific issues. Christian also works with the Bulgarian ecosystem in investments. So this is also one of the outcomes. Develop a network, an informal network of partners, people who know each other and develop a relation of trust, and basically can address together some very specific issues of the startups, helping them to scale up. So help them gain in mobility across the European ecosystem and develop a true single market, basically with bottom-up support. I would also like to thank every, let's say, speaker and participant for the contributions today. On our side, there will be two similar roundtables focused on the Nordic and the Baltic ecosystem, and also on Central and Western Europe. And then in November, a final roundtable that will cover all the conclusions that were collected, and then also the preliminary, let's say, results obtained with the virtual ecosystem and the networked acceleration program. So we will, of course, invite you to all these events if you are interested to attend. And meanwhile, in any case, we hope that we will stay in touch and work together once again on very specific problems related to some of the startups in your ecosystems, and that together we will be able to help them better. Thank you so much once again. And we will stay in touch. Meanwhile, I hope to see you soon, and I wish you an excellent
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you all.
End of the week.
Thank you very much.
For great
Thank you very
moderation.
much
Thank you.
for for this roundtable and to all the participants. It was a pleasure, and I hope you guys who are not part of AccelerAction, you'll keep up. We'll keep together with the project because we look forward to do that.
And beyond,
great meeting
because,
you. Yeah, exactly.
We hope to develop new actions that are beneficial, of course, for the startups each of you works with. So thank you so much, and we will stay in touch.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.